about
You can
that.
share the screen and we get started.
Everybody, yes, I'm going to share, sharing the screen as we speak. Okay, so by the time the screen comes through, okay, let me quickly. Is my screen visible, Chintan Bhai?
Yes, now it is visible. Please go ahead.
Perfect, sounds good. So, okay, everybody, well, once again, welcome back. So, today's topic of agile manufacturing, uh, actually, how it occurred. When I Chintan Bhai and I just spoke about this, that Saurabh Bhai just take us some session, and I any which was planning, was planning to take something. So my recent, introduction to the world of agile manufacturing, I just got into, 2-3 years back, and I probably thought that now in the world of agile and in the world of agile manufacturing, these are two different worlds or worlds and words altogether. Though they are pretty much related, agile remains agile, manufacturing remains manufacturing, and great session from Priya Patra that you all have heard about agile in the past, and we have few great agilists also in this. One of the great agilists I know, Manish. So thanks, Manish, for being in. And pardon me if I go somewhere wrong, and just correct me, right? And probably some more people would be quite aware of the agile. So I thought, why not this topic, which is quite decently getting implemented across the world of manufacturing today in the WCM world, world class manufacturing. This is becoming a normal trend nowadays. So then I said, let me pick up this topic. And when I read about this kind of a nice quote from Jack Welch, right? If the rate of change of outside exceed the rate of change of inside, I this is primarily towards the business organizations who do not change. And I remember, years back when Kodak didn't change, or for that matter, Xerox didn't change. What happened to this? When I'm just not talking about the manufacturing itself, but I'm just talking about their business mindsets in the organization. So when the culture doesn't change, when the mindset doesn't change, this thing happens. So with that little bit of a introduction, I'm going to ask you a quick question to you, and keep all your chat window open. As I said, keep this session no formality, keep this session very informal, okay? And please, you can probably unmute yourself and talk to me, or probably you can even put up a chat window. So the first thought process in my mind: how do you if you have to take few words on agility, how do you put up a agility or agile for that matter? I'll probably quickly go to my chat window and look at your chats coming in. Anybody? Chintanbai, it says, okay, Chintanbai says, new way of working. Fantastic, Chintanbai. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's true. A new way of working. Manish and I both did discipline agile certifications, right? So, and thanks, Chintanbai. You exactly use the same word, choose your wow, right? Of that discipline agile actually talks about. Anybody else? The agility. No one? Business agility?
Yeah,
Chintanbai,
the
am I?
flexibility,
Yeah,
flexibility.
absolutely, sir. Flexibility, very true. And And let me add, since you added one, let me add one more.
Yes.
Rapid response to rapidly
Right.
changing requirements or the needs of the business
Dynamic
stakeholders.
changing,
Absolutely.
dynamic changing
Dynamic
needs,
changing. Thank you. Right. Dynamically
and
changing needs
readapt to the new thing.
and re-adapt. First, you get adapted to that new way of working, as Chintan Bhai said, and re-adapt yourself, continuously keep adapting yourself. And today, my session also have few case studies, actually, the small ones, actually. One is a very big case study, in fact. But let's see how the time permits. I really wanted to discuss these small caselets today, how this concept is actually been applied in the real life. So let me quickly, thanks everybody. Quickly continue around this. So that's a little bit of introduction. In agenda we will talk about what is the agile manufacturing. Why do we need to be agile, or why manufacturing world should be agile? Forget about anybody else, but we're talking about focusing on the manufacturing today. So we'll talk about why the manufacturing world should be agile. The key to the agility and flexibility. We'll talk about agile manufacturing in an organization. We talk about certain products which come out of this agile manufacturing. And because of the way of working or changing way of working, how the products changed or transformed over the period of time. Talk about the interdisciplinary design in terms of the organizational structures, right? That has to be done to keep up the change which is happening outside the environment, outside in the environment. How can we do the transformation? And we just talk about quick cases. Okay. And of course, as usual, this presentation would be uploaded, as Chintan Bhai does a fantastic job in uploading this presentation as always. Right? So welcome everybody to this transformative world. And whenever I think about this business agility, and I did kind of the what you call word cloud on this business agility, and few random samples of the thought processes on the business agility come to me. If I look at it, right, I could see preemptive. I could listen to customers. I could listen to stakeholders and be adaptive, right? I'm probably so nimble enough to be the change myself or change catalyst myself. I'm a human being, right? Who not just normal human being. I'm a fast human being to deliver faster. I'm evolving continuously. I'm not no stringent or of no unflexible. I'm flexible. Change is the only cause. So this words, I don't want to take much time here, but this word get me a definition to a very standard definition to the business agility. Front of you, sensing and responding to the customer needs. Right? When so much of innovation happening across, okay, and we can keep talking about innovations in manufacturing. What makes a difference is the world of Toyota in those days, right? Changing from mass manufacturing to customized manufacturing. That's one of the classic use cases. And this is where the Toyota actually started with the lean enterprise or the lean manufacturing concept. And we had, all of us know that we had a TPS, right? Toyota Production Systems in those days. So this world of agile came from that word of lean. Okay. So I think Priya also spoke a lot about this. So probably I'll try to restrict myself on agile part, but focus on the manufacturing terms of agility. So the business agility, very quick aspect which I could not find out. So I thought I'll just quickly take that image and I just copied that image here. You sense the changes occurring. Okay, the Canons and Sonys of the world or Nikon of the world sense the changes occurring in the business, right? To compete against Kodak. those days. Same with the Canon versus Xerox. They responded back to the changes. Digital camera, I remember Fujifilm when it was actually unheard about actually in the market. Or that one, what you call, that 1 minute photo, right? I even forgot the name. So even that also was a click through, which came to some innovators' mind because of some family issue. In fact, there is a beautiful, nice, kind story about it. I'm sorry. Sorry, sir. Go ahead. Okay. I thought somebody was trying to name the company.
The name of the company is Polaroid.
Polaroid, Chintamay. Thank you so much. Polaroid, absolutely. A 1 minute photo, remember.
Yes, Saurabh bhai, this is Chintan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Chintamay. Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah.
So, they respond. How it happened, you know what? The Polaroid? There's a nice story, actually a real story, of a father and daughter. So the father and a daughter duo. This daughter is 5 years old, and father and daughter go to a beach. What do you expect a 5-year-old daughter to do? Absolutely, the beach would have a sand, so she will play with the sand. She will build nice houses, etc., etc. So she really wanted to build a small house, okay, in the sand, and probably once she was built with sort of whatever small piece of the model she built with this simulation technique we could probably call in a real world today. She asked her father, "Papa, how does this look like?" So the father says, "Beautiful, my dear." So the um, the daughter said, "I want a pic of it." Why? So father had a camera. It must be coded. I don't know. But tick or click. Now, what happened? The 5-year-old daughter said, "I want to see the pic right away." Then father started getting very, very smoothly with the daughter and try to explain, "Sorry, my dear, I can't. I can't show you a pic right now. The challenge is, I can't explain you the challenge here." "No, I want to see the pic." Hmm. Father said he got little aggravated. He said, "Sorry, I told you I cannot show you." And daughter started demanding, "I want to see the phone." Then father started explaining the scientific logic, okay, behind that film technology, the 36 exposures, etc., etc. Daughter didn't understand anything, as if father expected her to understand. Daughter started crying. The father said, "Shut up and don't cry. I can't show you, mean I can't show you." Both of them went home. Daughter didn't talk to the father at all. That night, the father thought, "I made my daughter cry." That was the origination of Polaroid. And then father said, "I'll make some innovation which will make a transformative change in the world of business." The camera. Responding to change coming from the pain areas and adapting to the situation is what the business agility all about. So I'm going to embark upon a very quick, this is a very famous diagram. Why agile? If agile is supposed to be flexible, if agile is supposed to be dynamic, is agile supposed to be constantly changing, then aren't we agile enough? Probably not. If you look at the smooth road ahead, I could see a smooth road ahead. Yes, absolute smooth road ahead when I'm traveling. However, all of a sudden, after few kilometers, I find this actually, which I haven't envisaged during this my forecast or while developing a plan. This is exactly the difference between the traditional way of planning and the reality. The traditional picture is very smooth. In the world of projects, when we do some planning, Okay, all the endeavors that we do, we build a plan, including the marriage of our kids, right? We have a plan in place here. Okay, we have a plan probably on the paper somewhere. Or some people I diligently they do literal planning in Excel, which is heads off to them. I'm not sure if they really use some tools to do the planning apart from Excel, but the marriage plan, they feel that it's going to be so smooth enough. These are the respective milestones in the journey that we carve out in next 9 months of the marriage planning date. But the reality could be literally different because we live in a constant, uncertain world where the risk could keep occurring. And that's where we need to adapt to the situation at on the spot. The world of manufacturing learned this sooner than later. And it because of your lean concept from the Toyota, which was existence, and it still exists today in abundance, people thought, why don't we do a stepwise planning rather than a full-fledged planning? And this is where people could, and this is another classic, very standard figure diagram, which all, it gets displayed everywhere, right? If I look at this, say this is my goal of manufacturing of this car, right? Tesla electric vehicle. Okay. I have two ways of doing it. Okay. One way is I built the car from components in a nice increment way. So as we say incremental approach, I increment slowly, steadily. The, okay, let me explain you the other one. The other diagram which shows me, okay, I've built some nice, scatter on the road or skating board on the road with the two wheels at minimum, okay, and then I evolved this to this particular product, then evolved it to this, and this. Can someone tell me the difference between these two from a business perspective? When we're talking about manufacturing and rapidly changing requirements of the stakeholders, can we align this thought process with what you are thinking and you are saying right now? Can we put on the chat or unmute yourself and talk?
At every stage, I see a complete usable product.
That was Manish.
No, that is Gokhale.
Gokhale, sir. Thank you. Which one? Is this one, sir, or this one?
That's the second one, the down one.
Excellent, Gokhale, sir. Absolutely. Every stage is a usable product. Okay. Though this product gives me at least an end user a view or a visualization, yes, it's getting incrementally developed. But the challenge is, can I use this? Probably no. Just the two wheels and axle? Probably no. Can I use this? Probably no. Can I use this? Probably no. Right? I do not want you all to take into the technical language of the minimum viable product, incremental versus iterative approaches, etc. But that's exactly what it says. The world of agility in the manufacturing, how awesome would it be if the manufacturers go through this evolution so that they don't waste the money upfront building the entire product for 3 years and then customers start rejecting bits and pieces of that. Rather than that, build something minimum, which we call minimum viable product, take a feedback from the stakeholders or the customers, maybe through some kind of a beta testing, take some inputs, rework on it, produce better. So this iterative world is a world of agile. Of course, this incremental world is also a way of agile. But this gives some kind of a value to the customer rather than waiting for the entire product. So why agile? Of course, we spoke about why agile. So what is agile? This is agile. Taking customers' feedback, okay, and providing a value in return. A value could be qualitative, value could be quantitative, any kind of value in the business. So that the see the kind of a charm on the customer faces. At the end of the day, you get delighted customer when I build this product. Okay, you might think, how is it possible in every situation in manufacturing? May not be, but I'll tell you what, companies have started doing it. And one of the live example in the past, which I'm going to talk about, is Dell Computer itself, Agile Manufacturing. I took a few bits of that case as well. Today, just 3 years back, in fact, the worldwide known company called Bosch, electronics and instrumentation giant, okay, the German-based company, have got their 1,200 members transformed into agile way of manufacturing. When I read the case study, Chintan bhai, believe me, it was such a mind-blowing. I couldn't resist myself thinking many of the applications like this. So what is agile manufacturing? Let's quickly go through it. Okay, I don't want to take much of a time on the basic concept, but it's a combination of agility and manufacturing. By now, I'm sure you would have recognized what agile manufacturing is all about. Okay, so it's very standard definition. It's a manufacturing method which combine this all three things together. That's the first and the basic level, right? The organization, people, and technology. And when I don't even talk about anything else, I talk about the flexibility of changing not one parameter here, but adaptability that everyone, all these three variables adapt to the situation which is demanded by the business. I'm sure you would have heard about concurrent engineering in the past. It's part of the engineering. Those who would have probably heard about engineering. Concurrent engineering, where all the functional units or functional domain in the company, marketing, finance, human resources, production, supply chain, all these come together and join hands together. They co-develop a product or a service, actually speaking. Okay? So the term which is agile manufacturing, as we say, it's primarily talking about fighting with the changes in the marketplace. Simple as that. And the triggers or the inputs to that agile manufacturing come from all these things. One of them is concurrent engineering that I talked about. It could be virtual enterprise as well, agile manufacturing. One very quick example of this, of a virtual manufacturing or a virtual enterprise, of course, leaving apart the COVID situation where many organizations have gone virtual. But if I talk about even a few years back, there is a company called Cisco in the networking, information technology networking. Cisco, who create networking products like routers, switches, firewalls, and whatnot, which keeps your organizational networks up and running. Okay, the Cisco company, I'm not sure whether you are aware of this, that Cisco do not manufacture anything. Interesting, isn't it? They don't manufacture. It's outsourced to two giant partners across the globe. I might still remember the names of the partners: Hamilton Standard and Jabil Circuit. Global partners. I'm not sure if they have added few more now, but these two partners do the manufacturing of these network components to Cisco. While design, it's patented by Cisco. Design, Cisco will never outsource. Cisco has kept it with it. The manufacturing is outsourced. Now, this was years back, and Cisco is still like that. It's so nimble, and it is still rapid. Now, what Cisco does, and I'm a end user of Cisco, it gives you opportunity to end user to configure the routers or configure switches online. Wow, that's a wonderful thing. If I give you a free hands, the router that you want, you configure, you customize based on your need, and will deliver. What they do, they just do a designing part, and remaining entire assembly and the manufacturing is outsourced completely. Do you think the supply chain wouldn't have been taken care of it? No, they have a huge supply chain. The beautiful network design on the supply chain as well. This example, classic, in a classic way, gel well with the latest example of Apple. What does Apple do? Absolutely same. They do the design of the phones and outsource the manufacturing to Flexcon. Flexcon, yes. Taiwanese company. Same with Samsung. Why? They wanted to be flexible. They wanted to be lean enough with them. They wanted to adapt to the rapid changes in the marketplace. And you know what? With Flexcon as a company, how they have created their assembly unit, it's completely, what do I call, repurposable, or quite, I would say, rapidly reconfigurable. That's the right word I was not trying to hunt through. Reconfigurable assembly line. That means if iPhone 11 versus iPhone 12, if this change has to occur, thanks to the dynamic requirement of the market, thanks to the users like Manish, who would ask, hey, you know what? I need 200 MP camera in iPhone. I need a bigger screen of 7 inches in iPhone. So and so forth. And many people like him would probably demand this kind of changes more often than not. So what would Flexcon do? They can't keep building the assembly lines. Same with Cisco. Reconfigurable product. They can't build it. I remember way back, Asian Paints, the classic paint manufacturer, another case in point, they introduced a website on their website, asianpaint.com. They introduced a flexible approach so that what end users can do, there are various shades of paint, right? If you have to paint your house, generally what you do, you have a shades in terms of shade card, correct? And you choose. But the problem is, you don't know how does it look like. You can't visualize your wall through that shade, right? Because it's a physical shade color. Now, especially when the two shades has to merge, I really can't visualize for a children's bedroom, for example. The children are smaller or quite younger. I need a vibrant designs on my walls. What Asian Paint did, they gave a flexibility to you. They say that you configure the colors. You move your laptop to that particular wall, take a picture how the wall looks like, and then just paint that wall with those various different options as if you are actually designing your wall on the Asian Paints website. Capture that and send it to Asian Paints. Right? Complete customized product development, which has been given to the end users. This is another wonderful thought. So this triggers, which I remembered from my experiences because I experienced this. Similarly, there was an organization called kitchen equipment makers called Moen, MOEN. This Moen as a company, many years back, they introduced what Asian Paints, technology I was just talking about on the website. You can actually design your own kitchen on the website itself of Moen. And now today, many of the manufacturers have gone into that bandwagon. Okay, giving a choice to the manufacturing is going from a centralized era to decentralized era in your hands, in the customer's hand. The customer can be happy, customer can't creep, right? Much. They give delighted, absolutely, more than anything else. So the business case, all about agile manufacturing. Very simple. We live in the industrial zone of 4.0, right? From that stone age, right? The what do you call steam age and whatnot. We are living in the Similarly, we are living in the industrial 4.0 age today. And there are so many companies which are building the new development of their products and services on the new technology and innovation. Actually speaking, that's the only reason I selected a topic for a TMI group here, because TMI is all about that, right? TMI is all about that, technology management innovation. I thought, let me bring some new flavor of this, and probably without talking much, I'll just get into very quick use cases of this part. The one drawing which I liked, this is an image actually. Honestly, I have not drawn it. I've just picked up an image, which I like. It's augmented workers. The automation changing needs of the workers, right? Probably through augmented reality, the virtual reality which is occurring. The artificial intelligence and IoT of the world is just becoming a normal, way of life today for the manufacturing world. I I remember I came across a beautiful plant, Tata Motors plant in Pune, and you won't believe, when I visited that 30 years back, it is not the same plant as is. And I literally could see robots moving on, handling the bigger load. It could be a small robo, big robo. They're moving on across the floor, shop floor. So the workers, right, their job has been taken by robots, including assembly, the routine manufacturing, routine assembly on the assembly line. I saw robo. I'm sure you would have seen lot many videos on that. So artificial intelligence and robotics is absolutely coming in. Though many organizations might not have yet implemented it, but services organization are using the robots. For example, my HDFC Bank, I am account holder of the bank. What do I get? Is a bot. Now, chatbot is a very simple application of a robotics, a small robot which comes and talk to you. Right? You have a ready-made answers to the questions. I don't know where they get answers from. So once I asked very intelligent question, Robo also didn't have an answer. So many of my friends ask me, in this way, age of automation, Saurabh, what will happen to our jobs? And this, whatever I just mentioned, answers that question. Who will design the systems? I wish the robot themselves can design their own assembly. I wish the day will come, of course, but still human being would be required. And that's the reason we get into so many different technology learnings. I have started myself learning, though it's understand. I do understand with my background of about a quarter decade, uh, or sorry, quarter century. I need to completely relearn the whole technology. It's not easy. Maybe for you also, all right? But still, we don't have a choice. We need to relearn. We need to adapt, right? The rapid, changes in the market. No choice at all. So these are some of the factors, right, which are contributing to the world-class manufacturing and the automation, and that brings a flexibility in manufacturing. Okay. The workforce is also getting changed, getting transformed. I'm not going to talk about this slide, and for a while I'm going to skip this slide. Okay, if time permits, we'll definitely talk about it, but at a very high level, From the Toyota production system days of lean manufacturing or lean production to the agile manufacturing. In lean production, the whole focus was on the elimination of the waste. In agile, the whole focus is outward. The lean production, the focus was inward. Agile for manufacturing, the focus is customer, the end consumer, right? Now, with this small change, lean versus agile, where the focus itself changes, okay, then the thought process comes to the manufacturer. Why don't we do both? And today, some companies, like of course Toyota, are getting into lean agile way of working. Both. Elimination of waste. So there are three types of waste, Muda, Mura, Muri, but I will not probably get into those details right now. We try to either reduce the waste or eliminate the waste completely. And there are a few words in the world of quality management, like continuous improvement on the basis of Kaizen, right? And things like that. So when I change my focus completely from mass production to the batch production, this is what many years back, in fact, I was listening to a podcast, in fact, a case study of a Toyota production system. The Toyota guys, what they did years back, they wanted to see how the Ford manufacturing occurs, or how the mass assembly occurs, or mass manufacturing occurs in a Ford. So few of the Toyota folks from Japan, right, went to US to see that mass manufacturing line. Those were many years back, probably century back. And they met Henry Ford. Henry Ford was very happy to show them. Okay? They introduced themselves. They learned the technology of the mass production. They started in Japan. They came back. They started in Japan. But all of a sudden realized, and this is very, too many years back, they realized that all customers would not need the same product. All customers might have delta change in requirements. Some customer might need that car door, okay, to open in on the top. Some customers might need the back door to be smaller, front door to be larger, or vice versa. This got into a thought process. Why don't I keep my batch size instead of 1,000? I keep it at 10 or 20 or 50, whatever possible. Why don't I reduce the batch size of production? That was the trigger for this agile management. So I get some needs from my stakeholders and build as per that. I group those needs, of course. That doesn't mean that for every stakeholder I'll build a new card. No, not that way. But my base will be same. On that I can customize. So that was all about lean versus agile. It is all about what customer needs and customer wants are, actually speaking. And when the company go across the board, not only from self-manufacturing, but it also goes to the component suppliers. They integrate them, right? They do a backward and forward both integration and provide a single unique solution to customer. Very frequently, agile manufacturing happens. Okay? So I'm going to skip some of the slides. Okay, I'm because we spoke enough. I though had many slides actually speaking. What I'm going to do is, in the interest of time and in the interest of your interest, I'm going to quickly jump onto a case which I got it for you. So let me do this. But before that, I think this slide, if I don't talk, probably I will not do a justice to the manufacturer. So a normal manufacturer from a mass manufacturing, right? How do they move or transform themselves to agile manufacturing? Okay? So these are the 4 stages, right? And there could be few more added to it, right? These are the only four, and I've added a few more to it. For example, the first one, look at the current processes, look at the existing world of processes in your manufacturing, rebuild them completely based on the changing needs of the customer, reconfigure the processes. Second, examine the current way of working, as Chintan Bhai nicely said, change the way of working of people, how they work, probably get certain new tools or repurpose the same tools, bring a little bit of innovation, right? And change the when we're going. So when I talk about Bosch case study, I'll talk to you about that. Explore further opportunities wherever I can, get this production, uh, current production mechanism through the use of a new tool, transform to the agile way of working in terms of agile uh, techniques or tools and the agile equipments. So, a classic example here, and my favorite example, which I generally cite in my sessions, in the organization parlance, okay, your current organization structure. For example, if I just talk about an IBM as a behemoth 116 years organization, or Godrej as a large 140 years organization in FMCG, or non-FMCG as well. When I think about these examples, they would have a rudimentary processes and rudimentary way of working with technologies. Right? Unless they change the technology, in addition to way of working in processes, they change the equipments and technology. They can't really go so agile. And that's exactly what IBM did. So if you think about the engine, okay, of a tractor, if you want to put this engine in the sports car, in the BMW, will it work? Probably. It will, might, but that car will not give you that kind of a, fun or that kind of a sporting experience. Here we talk about UX. UX is another thing which is currently going on. User experience of the products. Whenever I look at the products, it's user interface, user experience. A tractor engine may not fit into the sports car engine or sports car. You need to build a sports car engine with a new tooling. So I might need to completely revamp the existing tooling altogether and bring a new one. I remember Tata Indica, 1997. They came with this, first indigenous developed car in India. And when that came out, the Maruti was, of course, doing pretty well, right? Even the Fiat as well. When this kind of car which got produced, the technology was indigenous. But all of a sudden, the customer requirements changed. All of a sudden, they felt that, oh, this was a heavy car. Because what happened? They started comparing with the global peers. Globally, there was a very light car concept for for this four-wheeler. Indica didn't have a choice. They went to V2, a little lighter model, and probably a diesel model, but still not. So they went on. They got new, product lines developed within them. They customized it. So they came with a different ideas. Right? They came with a different product life cycle in that case. Having said that, they never rebuilt the entire factory. Yes, to a large extent, they repurposed the existing. But when Nano came, probably they thought little differently. We will invest. We will invest in the latest technology so that the cost of the car is been kept low for the end user. The one-time capital expenditure on that production or of the building the entire facility could be large, but my recurring cost could be lower over a period of time. So they invested in heavy technologies. The examples I remember because I heard them many years back, and even today, what Tesla is doing. Tesla is an agile company, right? The Elon Musk says that everything is a software driven. Every manufacturing can be software driven, can be agile. So this agile came through software world. Now it's very highly getting populated the world of manufacturing as well. A quick example and a real life example, right? The Japanese car makers, they are producing 3-day car assembly. Current, they promise 10-day, they over deliver on their promises in 3 days, flat 3 days, to the respective channel partners or the dealers. They believe in the JIT, just in time, right? Because if you look at it, if you keep your production lot a huge one, you will have inventory carrying cost to the dealer. And another challenge in the regulatory side, the Bharat norm emission norm 6th, right, which come into market and change the whole ball game altogether. What happens to those cars which have been manufactured with Bharat norm or a BS3 compliant or BS4 compliant? When BS6 compliant norms come, choice. So why don't we go with the just in time? Though we produce enough to cater to demand. This is where the demand supply forecasting play a vital role. So this is a classic example. How do you do this? 10-day promise and over delivery or over deliver that promise in 3 days. Absolutely using agile manufacturing principles that we spoke about. There's a good amount of reading on the web. Okay, of course, you can keep reading about it. Few challenges they might be facing. Of course, break the dependencies on the mass manufacturing or economies of scale, but you still utilize somewhere economies of scale by probably getting your suppliers near to you, thereby saving a transportation cost. Give them a bulk orders, delivery staggered across. We do that in the businesses, right? Of course, we do that. Produce in low volumes, guarantee 3-day car, replace the large centralized cluster with a small decentralized, as I told you in the beginning. And the last one is reconfigurable manufacturing components, modular components which have a flexibility to upgrade themselves, unlike some of the mobile handsets which cannot be probably upgradable. Yeah, of course, everything would have a limit. I can't expect 1 terabyte of a memory. Of course not, right? From my 64 GB of RAM, I can't expect it. But yes, with a 64 GB to 128 to 256 to 512 if that's possible, with a little bit of innovation. That's exactly what's happening. Electronic components, the great Murphy spoke about, right? I'm sure a lot of you would have heard about. Every 18 months, the size of the component will reduce and the speed of that component will double. Okay? Murphy said that. And yeah, a few word challenges as well. Before I jump onto the case, any questions for me so far? I'll take 10 more minutes with you otherwise. Okay, fine. So in that case, let me quickly see my chat box in case I have not seen my chat box for a long time. Chintan Bhai, let me know if there are chat boxes. Okay, no chats. Okay, fine. So people, I'm hoping they are still
Yeah,
listening to me very carefully.
yeah, we don't have chat right now.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Who doesn't know this company? Everybody knows. Yeah, of course. Probably some of you like me wouldn't have tasted wouldn't have purchased those cloths or garments, right? A very famous garment manufacturing targeted toward men, women, and children, all three. right? I thought about this one single slide I could probably present in front of you. So what is this? What is happening is United Colors of Benetton, right? It's considering itself as an agile manufacturer on the various aspects of the production, internal, external, outsourcing, as I mentioned about Cisco manufacturing, Apple manufacturing, their retail network altogether, and their sales network, which are direct and indirect sales. Okay? Now, if I look at this case altogether, right? If I look at these nuggets, how it was achieved? It was primarily achieved by the backward integration and forward integration together. As I told about GIT concepts, they actually leverage GIT. This is an old concept anyways. We don't have to hunt for this kind of concepts, right? It's all lean, GIT, world-class manufacturing. These are all available. Then why not? Are we saying something else? Are new wine in the old bottle? Probably yes. If you think through, yes, reconfigurable terms in terms of agile manufacturing. I just wanted to take you to this case and say that, okay, this is possible. Then why not? Why don't we leverage this kind of old terminologies of old wine and new bottle? Possible, quite possible. Right? So this means that my cycle time of production, which will shrink, the delivery time or turnaround time as an external interface to the customer will increase rapidly, and I will be able to deliver the products more often than not. So there is a in the management terminology, there is a concept called inventory turnover. How effectively and efficiently, both the ways, how effectively, efficiently you are able to turn over your inventory. Okay. So for example, I remember Walmart, a classic retailer, competitor of this as well. Right? But of course, in the retailing segment, no doubt about it. This is a manufacturer. Walmart, what it does, it refurbish its inventory 8 times in 24 hours. So the inventory, uh, what you call uh, the life cycle of the inventory on the shelf is 3 hours. Inventory turnover ratio is 8 altogether. So every 3 hours, you will churn your inventory. Okay. Similarly, there is another manufacturer which I remember in the uh, uh, in the garment segment who is equally into they have an inventory turnover ratio of 11 every 2 hours. That how it's possible through huge chain of the suppliers, global partners. Absolutely. Okay. Um, yeah, I'm forgetting the name of the company who's got the inventory turnover ratio of 11. Anyway, in case I remember, I'll tell you. But that's what's happening here. A use of information technology. The Walmart were the early mover in the world of information technology. Extranet. I remember in my previous days, right, when I used to do probably about 20 years back, I was just starting off my information technology journey, or those days. And I remember Walmart created extranet. Now, if I tell you the word called extranet, probably some of you might not be even familiar with this term. Intranet, I understand, internal internet to the company, right? But extranet, it's an external interface connected with the global suppliers, partners, etc. It's a classic extranet in place so that one supplier down south India, when it gets an automatic trigger when one piece of a shirt is moved off to a New Jersey store of a Walmart, or a one piece of a small retail component is moved off, right, of the store. See that kind of a integration, backward integration with the supply, and probably similarly forward integration with customer. When I say Asian Paints give you a flexibility, what I'm trying to do, I'm doing a forward integration. That means I'm giving my data, I'm opening my database to my partner, to peep into it. It's what's the inventory currently available. Immediately refurbish the supply. That's how these kind of organizations actually can have huge amount of designs, ever changing flexible designs on the clothes. Okay, that is the case study of Benetton. And who doesn't know this case study? Probably with that I'll stop. Everybody knows what does Dell did. Absolute mass manufacturing to customized manufacturing. Instead of build to stock, I went to build to order. These are the couple of terms in manufacturing. Build to stock. I don't stock anymore. 1,000 pieces of computers. No, laptops. Build to order. Just like Cisco. Cisco is a classic case of build to order. In fact, Dell learned a lot from Cisco. So Dell Computer's success is absolutely, towards its distribution channels. Now, what is a direct channel? So they all cut off their indirect channels and they fine tune completely. They have a sales guys. They cut off the wholesaler, retailer, the channel partners. Directly went online. A customer can buy it off. There'll be sales folks directly with help. We go through it. But now what I also heard, they've opened up a retail shops. Just like Apple retail shops, right? It's called iStore. Uh, Dell also have a very dedicated retail shop. They have transformed their business strategy. But this was a few years back. This was the case in itself. They went from mass manufacturing to customized manufacturing, right? So instead of trusting upon the partners, they directly thought that we will reach out to the customers using the information technology bandwagon. So they thought that we will have a direct interface with the customers. Dell representatives, right? Typically, they will promise that a product will arrive within 5 days, although the customer would receive a product sooner, right? Under promise and over deliver. I learned this concept many years back in the management. Under promise, over deliver. That's exactly what some of the other companies also did. Okay. So I'm not going to talk about many of this kind of a case, advantages, because most of them we spoke. But this was the Dell case. I just built this so detailed so that whenever you look at the presentation, when Chintan Bhai uploads, and whenever you get a time and look at it, you probably can have all the information at your fingertip to have a transformative change. Very few anecdotes, caselets. One application of agile manufacturing is using your 3D printing on the spot, right? To prototype. Simple. You want this? Okay, I'll give it to you. Immediately. Use 3D printer. Okay? Very simple. So 3D printers have a potential to accelerate your design and prototype. I can do anything on the spot. When I say on the spot, of course, it allows, you have to allow some margin. You have to allow some time to do. You can't expect a moon in the shorter time. Iterative cycle becomes shorter as the new versions of the product come. So that's the reason I can respond to the needs faster. My turnaround time becomes much faster. Indeed, the prototypes, the multiple prototypes which are possible within, rather than the years, it could be months and months to be weeks, and weeks could be days. I start immediate printing, a customized printing, and make improvements with each iteration, feedback from the customer. That's exactly my customer centricity all about. I have a customer centricity, customer demands, customer requirements, and I deliver upon that. Right? So another example of this 3D printing, if you look at it here, the jewelry manufacturing industry. I can have a product. In fact, my one of my neighbor actually is into design manufacturing, design of the jewelry. When I told about this 3D printing, she was so happy. Wow! She immediately bought. She started absolutely doing this new designs. This and the manufacturing near to the customer. I actually take customer online, design on the spot the 3D graphics. The another caselet using a computer vision to augment the operators. What does it do? Computer vision that assists the operator through the production process. So it brings automation, right? It gives a sigh of relief to the operators' routine movements, routine production processes, etc. The systems actually track the operator's movement and inspect the product as it's being made. So it keep a watch. There is a camera, and they keep a watch on it. It's a technology development. Okay? And based on the context, what they do is the cameras and the backend system, they analyze a lot of patterns of the quick movements and probably can aid or give a suggestion. Where are you missing? On the spot improvement, real continuous improvement on the spot during production for the operator. Okay, that's another case. I have got few more cases, but I probably think that it's a time for me to stop here actually and probably give this platform to you to talk to me and ask questions on this. So I'm going to open up Chintan Bhai, for all questions that you might have. There anybody, and please feel free if you have some nice experiences to share in this world of agile manufacturing. Please do. If you think there could be some more applications, please feel free and share. I'm quite open. I think that we will learn as you share. We all will learn. Thank you.
Thank you, Saurabh Bhai. This was indeed informative and insightful one. Definitely, we love to hear about the way manufacturing is getting benefited by agile. So we have seen just in time and all, but then again, how actually agile is helping the manufacturing industry. That is something interesting. And I really like the use case what you presented for specifically for Dell. So, yes, thank you so much for this. And we now move on to the Q&A part. So, I would request if anyone would wish to share any questions, kindly put on your camera and share your questions. Yeah, bhai, go ahead.
Yeah. So, Saurabh, thank you very much for good presentation.
I have a,
I have gone through these cycles in couple of industry because I'm from electronic, semiconductor, CPG industry.
Mhm.
So these are the people who adapted these things quite early in the stage. But
Mhm.
when I came back to India, I realized that I moved to the steel retail
Go ahead.
industry. Okay, steel retail industry. So like
Okay.
mm, so like the companies who make steel rolls, plates, and where the demand is totally, you don't know because the demand of steel for it's a more of a make to order because for car steel demand is different, plate demand, for refrigerator it is different, for home it is different. So that was one area where I found that it was not easy to adapt agile methodology. Okay, because if you are running some processing line and suddenly you have
Absolutely.
to change, then it became very difficult because the cost of changeover was very high in that case actually.
True.
And another area where right now I'm working is the edible oil and food industry, where it's a processing industry, where also you cannot, depending on the demand, also you cannot become so agile from manufacturing point of view. So how I focused on other area in the sense that what are the thing I can improve on. So one of the area is how do I reduce my downtime is one of the concept actually. Predictive maintenance, getting the real time data from IoT and then enabling that and helping business to reduce the downtime, thereby enabling by having additional capacity. Okay, this was one way. Second way for me was operational efficiency improvement. We have machines which a vendor says, OEM says that per bottle per minute you can produce this many pouch, this many bottles. But actually, what OEM is saying and what we are doing is there is a huge gap actually. Therefore,
Hmm.
what happens is either you run three shift, yes, that is okay, but you go for subcontracting.
Yeah.
Okay, which is another way of agility. But what we are doing is we are not improving our existing. Why am instead of 80 pouch or bottle, I am producing only 55. Why not 58, 60? How do I move forward? Okay. So this I realize that this is if I improve this, I am actually helping my market. I am helping my supply chain and fulfilling my demand. So this was how I thought actually. So these are the cases where but in electronic semiconductor, the cases we have said because I was earlier with Panasonic, Sony, Canon, and Intel.
Wonderful.
So
Okay.
these are the concept we applied there actually. But in Indian environment where the um, heavy capital intensive industry or continuous production, there I am finding little bit challenging in having agile manufacturing. You have to tweak it somewhere and then do it things.
So nice to hear you, sir. So nice. Thank you so much, Abhay, sir. Yes, and in fact, you are right. The current way we work, okay, in the world of manufacturing, you can't transform overnight. So
Yes,
whatever is an incremental innovation or incremental improvement that you are very nicely doing, like turnaround time, operational efficiency, my business might expect a bomb to
yes,
happen overnight. That's not possible. Set right expectation. I agree. And what you are doing is perfectly good. Incrementally, you are improving. And that's
yes.
exactly the world of this, manufacturing
Okay,
in
okay.
agile world. And that's how it's supposed to be. I was reading a nice book, Atomic Habits. This is exactly what Atomic Habits talk to you. He said
Okay.
that do 1 degree improvement every month.
Uh-huh.
That could be a production, that could be manufacturing, that could be your way of working, way that could be your even your interpersonal skills also. In
Yeah,
generic concept,
exactly. Yeah.
1 degree per month, and see the result at end of 12th month. It will exponentially explode to 37.5 degree change altogether. I'm sure he would have some mathematical calculations, of the cumulative change, which would occur over a period of time. Yes, but that's what it is. And the
Or the
other
other
example,
way, yeah,
go
sorry.
ahead, please go ahead, sir. Go ahead, please go ahead. I think I should.
So other example which I tried was like it is more of a incremental. You cannot change everything overnight or that kind of. So how do I reduce my downtime? How do I do predictive maintenance? How do I when I say predictive maintenance, that means we took one boiler which was constrained resource. How do I model that? How do I ensure that that resource is not um there is no breakdown in that? So we enable through simple IoT devices, edge computing. We enabled it by ensuring we collected temperature, pressure, sound, and one more parameter, four parameter. When any of those are moving above the tolerance, immediate the alert goes to the plant operator, supervisor, and if it is real danger, then it goes to the plant head. So what how this is helping incrementally is by reduce corrective actions are taken immediately actually, thereby you reduce in spare cost or service cost or maintenance engineer services. So that is a cycle where we found that it is working, and business themselves are saying yes, it is working, and then we are able to move forward in that in today's world actually.
This is a fantastic example, Abhay sir. Abhay sir, which company you work for?
Adani Wilmar.
Ah, no wonder. Okay, perfect. No wonder. Yes, that group is getting lot of small transformational changes into. Yes, yes, and I keep hearing a lot about it. Right.
Same way, couple of like another area which I found is forecasting and all this. We spoke right in the beginning itself, but when last year, forget about it, was totally exception situation. But really, if you see in food and all this product, the demand is like not predictable actually. If your product is available in the market, it will get sold. If it is not available, you're gone actually.
True. Very true. If it's available off the shelf, people will look at it. And if it's
Yeah.
constantly changing also in the stores, people would love it. People would think about it that yes, you are trying to introduce new things over a period of time. May not be every day, but yes, still that kind of agility can still come through
Yeah.
in product development. I think somebody else was also saying something. Was it Chintan Bhai?
Yeah, so I was mentioning that, so that is where there is a fundamental difference between the Western, thought process for improvement and the Eastern thought process for improvement.
True.
So
I,
while and I as an individual, I prefer the Eastern one better because it is slow but steady and
steady.
firm. While Westerners they think that सब कुछ change कर देंगे and Monday say I will walk like Superman, I will talk like Superman, and then everyone will think that yes, I am Superman.
And that's the reason people, rather than looking to West, they are looking to East now. When companies also to do the lot of collaboration, why they do, when look at India, no manufacturing companies getting shut in China. US guys are just moving off
So
from China.
that is where I see a lot of opportunity because I was talking to someone. I was on a panel, and that is where I mentioned that now is the time that we must start because whatever you look at the kind of industries we are into. We are almost in every industry. We are in top 10. India
True.
is in top 10. Then this is the time that we must start Indianize the management concept and at least try to make benefit of our Indian knowledge also rather than blindly following them. Yes, we can have something like as we have it in automobile, Bharat standard 1, standard 2, standard 3. Why don't we customize something or Indianize our standards in manufacturing or maybe in telecom or maybe in construction and say this is what Bharat standard so and so.
But when we say Indianize, that means Chintan bhai, we have to do innovation. We have to spend more effort in R&D. Otherwise, what happens is we are trying to somehow copy from the Western world. Actually.
Yeah, so that is where I'm saying that this is the time that all of us should start putting our innovation head and do some innovation. We should start putting our head for standardization and start standardizing our processes.
Yes.
Just look at just one window, the window what you are sitting behind. We have got various types of window, but then why can't we just standardize the size of the window
Yes. Yes.
and say, okay, fine, this is the size A1, A2, A3, whatever, or W1, W2, W3, whatever. But then that would actually help, and then it would drastically, help our industries rather than having a confused running than confidence walking.
Yes. Very true.
Certain things we need to start standardizing and Indianizing.
I think there are the Chintan Bhai, you're so right. And yes, we have started working on Indianizing. This is where the global companies are coming to India, identifying Indian talent, developing the products itself or
Indian
re-engineering
market.
the products in India. Hyderabad, for example, lot of
We have been wired to be a follower than a leader. While
you
they
are
are
right.
giving us
And
employment, but then our share in the market, if you look at, let me tell you the kind of contribution or number of certifications we have in any kind of certification industry, then Indians are in top three. But if you look at the standards, the people who are framing the standards, then no one listens to our voice. That is where I am. I'm just trying to balance that out, stating that yes, we need to participate more, we need to engage more, and then demonstrate our thought process. In academia, I have seen lot many people, very senior people, they have achieved a lot, but then because their LinkedIn profile is not good, then actually they fail to take the due mileage or something. While on the other side, certain people haven't got that achievement, but their style of delivery is as such that the बाकी का जो 25 साल का एक्सपीरियंस वाला है ना, वो बेचारा साइड में बैठ जाता है कि यार मेरे अपने का काम नहीं है, right? All of us have
Correct.
seen that.
Yes. Correct. It's quite possible. They are so flexible, so adaptive, and you say 25 वाला no साल वाला ऐसा ही बाजू में बैठ जाएगा. सही बात. I think there is a time for, as you rightly said, for the Indian organization to services में बहुत कर लिया. Now it's a kind of a product industry
Yes.
which need to change themselves and to a customer. And I somehow have a gut feel
And
that it
skill
will.
knowledge की कोई कमी नहीं है, स्किल नॉलेज की कोई कमी नहीं है
कोई
अपने पास
कमी
में.
नहीं है.
It is just that we need some kind of a torch bearer who says, hey guys, we must standardize.
You rightly used the word torch bearer. Yes,
We need a torch bearer.
that's true. um, बहुत बार मैं सोचता हूँ ये मोबाइल मैं सैमसंग का क्यों लूँ, एमआई का क्यों लूँ, एप्पल का क्यों लूँ,
या इंडिया में क्यों नहीं है,
इंडिया
का
में
क्या है?
क्यों नहीं है भाई. बहुत
So
बार
that
सोचता हूँ और मैं
that
सोचता हूँ कि
R&D
इंडिया में है, प्लीज
R&D
अंडरस्टैंड.
invest.
सो इंडिया में है नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है, बट दैट्स अ विशियस साइकिल.
it's vicious
अभी
cycle.
मोबाइल छोड़ो, नहाने का साबुन नहीं खाली हो, कौन सा अपना खादी ग्राम उद्योग का लेके देखो ना. But we are fearful. We are wired. Our beliefs are wired in such a manner that we are willing to believe a unknown John much better than a known Jitendra. We are wired in such a way. We are willing to say, oh, I mean, I wouldn't like to name, oh, this vaccine, oh, this is something super. But then, अपना इंडियन कंपनी बोल रहा है भाई ये देख डेटा वो उससे भी ज्यादा परसेंटेज है. Probably you say, oh, शायद, I don't think that it would be achievable. Buy something Swadeshi, right? And then you see, because that is where we'll be able to break the cycle. They don't earn much, they don't make much profit, they are not able to invest in R&D, and then that is how they are not able to improve the product. How do we help them improve the product? Our purchasing power only will help them improve the product, right? If you buy, then their revenue increases, their profit increases, part of the profit goes into R&D, and then that cycle begins. Unless until it is just a vicious loop, and we as a customer only can bring or break the loop, bring them in the game.
True. And just to add to what you say, Chintan Bhai, in fact, there are certain cases which I read through in the defense sector, for example. Okay, there are few companies, I don't remember the names, but they are indigenously developing their aircrafts, the defense aircrafts. I read a case where Kalyani group, the Pune Kalyani Shah, the Baba Kalyani, that group joint had a joint venture with Rafael System. Now this Rafael System, that Israel-based Rafael company, they had
French.
French. No, I think Israel, if I'm
French,
not wrong.
French.
It's Israel-based Rafael Systems.
Amey
So
says something. Amey, yeah, go on.
Is it with Dassault system?
I don't.
Do you
Yeah,
want
that's
to
a
say
good
Dassault?
thought. I don't know whether dissolved, but they did a joint venture between Kalyani and Rafael Group, and this is for defense, advanced defense system, look indigenously to be
Mm-hmm.
manufactured in the Kalyani's premises. Actually speaking, and then they actually promised to the Air Force that we will deliver some X numbers within next 8 months. That was another classic case.
There are
Now,
there are a lot of
go
examples.
ahead,
I
sir.
mean,
Go
how
ahead.
many of us know that Mahindra also manufactures aircrafts? Do you know that? And their aircraft
Oh,
is
that's wonderful.
one
Mahindra,
of the
Mahindra.
top selling models in New Zealand and Sri Lankan markets, in South African markets.
Right, right.
Interesting. And there's a
But
commercial
you
aircrafts.
won't see any of our industrialists flying a Mahindra aircraft.
That's a very new. That's a, even honestly, I was not aware of this, Chintan
Yeah.
bhai.
So just look at, I
Very
mean,
interesting.
Mahindra manufactures that small size, what you call micro, not that, yeah, not micro, mid-size aircraft, those business jets, which can carry 8 to 16 people.
I think I'll have to read this. Very interesting. Then very interesting.
But they won't sell it to Indian because we don't believe our fellow Indians.
Yeah, I had read about those choppers, right? The helicopters being indigenously manufactured. Those choppers are getting manufactured for sure. Also, there is a company called Tata, of course. I think a power of Tata Power, they created something called TASL, Tata Advanced Systems Limited or something. And this TSL is only going to focus on the defense manufacturing. Actually, few days back I read about this. They're going to only manufacture defense equipments. That's it. And I think they've got all the permissions from DRDO, from Minister of Defense, and whatnot.
No, so this is I'm just sharing the link. You guys can have a look at it. So it is not so professionally upgraded or something. So if you are looking for some kind of benchmark of other business jets, then probably you won't like it. But then again, if you look at Mahindra logo, you would be happy.
I'm just looking at that logo, a small, very small aircraft, Air 1 G8. Okay,
Yes, and
very
look at the
interesting.
Mahindra logo.
It is absolutely, it is local Mahindra, correct.
Right, and you can actually, our airliners can fly such kind of aircrafts between, Nagpur and Aurangabad or whatnot. I mean, those class 2 to class 3 cities. It's a huge market in India itself.
Yeah, definitely.
You need not wait for those 100 passengers and then try to achieve break even. वो 16 सीट का वो अपना सिटी में चलता रहता है ना, ऑटो चलता रहता है.
और यही अभी हमने ये अहमदाबाद टू स्टैचू ऑफ यूनिटी वी गॉट द प्लेन फ्रॉम मालदीव्स.
Oh,
So, I mean, but that is something that is a what you call a specialty aircraft which can land on air, water.
But I think we can also develop such kind of things.
But so people are Indian companies are venturing into, and we must feel good about it. What else?
we should be proud about it. Yes.
Sir, I would like to I would like to add one thing. When you mentioned about Israel, so there is a technology that transfers seawater into drinkable water, right? So is there
Yeah.
any
Okay.
company in India that do this kind of technology, use this kind of technology?
Sorry, can you just repeat your question, if you don't mind?
In Israel,
So,
they have a
seawater too.
technology that converts seawater to drinkable water, right?
Okay.
There is a huge scope in India that we can develop our own system in coastal areas, like in southwest coast, then in the eastern coast. So there is a huge scope in environment as well.
Yeah, so I remember Prime Minister inaugurated something some 2 months back in Kutch or Gujarat actually.
Mhm.
Recently
So
only, two or
Israel is
three months
also
back.
using, yeah, yeah, yeah. So the Israel country as a country, the whole country itself is a agile manufacturing country in different products like electronics and manufacturing,
Agreed.
environmental
Security
area.
also.
Yeah, yeah.
पर वहाँ पे
Yes,
the
sir.
market dynamics is different. It's a, like 60 by 60 kilometer by 20 kilometer type of country where the overall situation is totally different, surrounded by 5 countries where they don't have good relationship. So they are very good in defense, they are very good in other areas, and they don't have drinking water. The first thing they tried is like converting sorry sea water into normal water. That is what I like.
Yeah.
Their thinking is totally different actually.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, see, the major challenge is mindset, not the technology.
Yeah,
Because
Right.
because if the politician says that 3 rupees a liter water, चलो मैं तुम्हें यहाँ से filter करके देता हूँ, that politician will lose the election. Because we are wired in such a way कि पानी तो फ्री होना चाहिए, पानी पे मेरा हक है, और फिल्टरेशन का कॉस्ट जो भी है, प्रॉफिट लॉस whatever, that is government's responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
We aren't willing to. I mean, even if you establish, I mean, recently there were some two, three plants which were inaugurated. They were like installed next to the sea, and then they are solar powered, and then they are trying to filter the sea water. But then again, who is going to bear the cost?
Mm-hmm.
How do you scale it up further so that you can supply water to entire city or entire region?
Yeah.
You need
That is the
money,
main issue.
but we are wired, or forget it. I mean, 10 पैसा भी हम लोग एक्चुअली हमारा घर का मेंटेनेंस के अंदर वाटर टैक्स वो छुपा के कहीं पे होता है, अदरवाइज वी विल नॉट गिव इट, राइट?
Mm-hmm.
हम लोग जो भी अपना घर का मेंटेनेंस देते हैं उसके अंदर बहुत सारा गटर का ये कॉस्ट है, वो कॉस्ट, बहुत सारा अलग अलग छोटा छोटा चीज है विच गेट्स आउट ऑफ अवर साइट, अदरवाइज वी वुड बी वेरी एंग्री.
Right. Right.
So, if I say a few words,
Sir Joshi sir,
yeah,
please. I was badly waiting for you to give some comments from give some advice, Joshi sir. Please go ahead, sir.
I just joined to understand the principle, the basic principle, and how you apply to manufacturing. I spent some years in manufacturing, so it made me really feel curious about the whole subject. And the industries I worked, of course, there have been three, four of them. One of them has been a continuous process industry where we do online feedback and corrections online. So, in a situation like that, agile is there already. I mean, that sort of thing. Manufacturing being a very, very wide field, it has a wide variety of operations. Right from you say shipbuilding was for manufacturing, garment manufacturing. I mean, you name such a wide variety of and types of operations. And if we want to apply agile to every one of those, it may not be or it may be, depends on the nature of the work involved, the costs involved, the customer demand for the quality and what they want. All those three factors come into picture, right? So I'm just trying to understand from people like you, what is the basic principle? How do we apply it to in a situation so that we get the results that we want? And you all the time you say that agile is something which is a corporate wide, it's a company wide philosophy of thinking and applicable all over. It's not only manufacturing per se, which pervades the whole philosophy of a company, if I understand correctly. I mean, if you want the total uh, total product or total productivity, it will only come when it is all over the enterprise, right? But
Very
even
true.
talking about in pockets, applicability in manufacturing, say you are doing fabrication. How do I go on agile? Okay, it's you can put into different parts and then do it and then do these parts separately and then assemble them. And okay, so there are some places where agile could be utilized. But just for my better understanding, can you already given some examples. Are there any examples where agile wins hands down? It's eminently suitable for that application. Something where it is used in industry. Am I clear? Is the question clear, please? I'm looking for uh, industry or manufacturing operation, let's stick to manufacturing operation, where agile application wins hands down. Like
So, sure,
3D
sir.
printing, I can conceive, I can understand how in 3D printing it would be doing that, because it's almost doing online. I mean, that sort of manufacturing. But other than that, what are the other examples, if you can quote, from manufacturing operation per se? Are there any examples, or it is a principle getting applied in manufacturing at suitable or appropriate operations? What I'm trying to understand.
Sure, sir. Thank you for asking. In fact, one of my presentations, I did one case study on the Bosch as an organization. Try to study its manufacturing products in Bangalore, which they are trying to manufacture here, right? That includes the non-consumer, consumer non-durable, goods, as well as the giant instrumentation, equipments which it creates, or some power tools which it manufactures for the businesses. I read few things about that, and what I understood, one, as you rightly said, they completely changed the mindset from the top down. So it's the CEO and MD. He changed the mindset from the traditional methodologies to agile. When I hear apply my agile principles in terms of flexibility, it says that you quickly and rapidly produce something. Suppose there is a drilling machine,
Yes,
right? And Bosch is one of the best manufacturers of a drilling machine.
yes,
If I Bosch create this drilling machine, uh, the lead time to manufacture to and then to supply it back to the probably the partners, dealers, channel partners or distributors. One use case is how quickly do I turn it around?
hmm,
Instead of manufacturing that one single machine in 10 days, can I build it in 5 days? Or as a small improvement, can I do it in 8 days first? 10 to 8 rather than drastic improvement.
yes,
10 to 8, 8 to 7, 7 to 5, in 3, 4 stages. I can do it in a minimum period of time. So I guarantee that delivery in 5 days to my customer, then I ship it in, or I deliver in 3 days.
yeah.
Guarantee 8 days to a customer, I give in 5 days. With that kind of a one example which I remember, I studied
So,
that.
Saurabh, like, I also have done this in couple of industries. So where it is the case of make to order, and you have to, like, if customer says, "Okay, this I want in particular a time period only," and he's ready to pay premium, then we did
Mhm.
the reverse planning from whether the availability of raw material production, rebalancing between the three shifts, where are the lean periods, what are the things I can optimize, and then giving them the timeline. Yes, it is possible, not possible, or what is the earliest possible. That way was one I have done in the manufacturing cases actually.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Since Joshi sir, one more thing which I came across was when you uh, I'm just thinking that example right now. When you build that
Yeah.
shoes. Now these shoes actually are, let's talk about, for example, Bata. Bata manufacturing the shoes
Yes.
in the bulk actually, with the different sizes, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever it is. They generally do in a bulk and put, they don't change the sizes in terms of, if 6, it is going to be 6. But then what they don't realize, there is a possibility your leg mapping is between 6 and 7. So 6 will be very fit, 7 will be kind of loose. In this case, what do I do? So, and again, I agree with Chintan Bhai. Unfortunately, nobody in India thought about it, and I do not know too many the local shoemakers in India, indigenous manufacturers. But this company, Nike realized this, and what they did, they produced a flexible shoe
Yeah.
in the respective sizes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
honestly, I don't know what technology they adopted, but both the people with the 6, and 7, both the sizes, they will equally feel better in that. Both flexible. That means that form inside must be expanding internally. They quickly realize that this is the challenge or a complaint in the marketplace, not for them, but generally they surveyed the shoe market, and they realize this. They thought that this is a good small innovation to do. They put it on the market quickly, and that was quite accepted well with the, and they built the whole. I'm thinking about this to do this at the back end. What changes they had to do? Probably new raw material. I'll have to get suppliers built in for that additional form factor and many things like that. But this is a one thing that quickly they reacted to market needs, and they fleshed it out in the market. Then that a shoe manufacturing can also be agile. Tomorrow, I have a new demand of a new type of shoes. I already heard Joshiji. You won't believe Joshiji.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
a shoe, a consumer demand. You know what? A shoe should have a slot at the bottom. So
Yes.
when you and I walk, if you are a avid walker, and we keep walking, Chintan Bhai is a avid walker, right? 15,000 steps. So if I keep walking with that shoe, the shoe has the chip in that slot below it. That chip itself will measure your number of steps. You don't need a mobile application, etc. That chip will have its own app built into it, and it can probably somehow with a with a regular apps, it can be integrated applications
Yes.
on the mobile, which will give you a live feeds of the movement. Not only that, that could be a normal feature nowadays, but I've also heard there is a demand from the people that as you walk, your mechanical energy, okay, which converts to heat.
Yeah.
Why don't I store this heat somewhere in some form which can be used to charge your mobile on the pocket?
Uh-huh.
So this is a reasonable demand. This is a reasonable innovative demand. And I heard some companies already innovating into that idea. Is keeping the, making this kind of a technology quickly.
Right. Right.
I should be rolled out. I think by this
Never
time it
mind.
should be
Never
the.
mind. Surajji, maybe we continue the dialogue, why we wait, make others wait and all. And what I'm trying to say is that I just want to understand the concept and the principles. My mind will continue to apply it to manufacturing different types in different places. And let's learn from it. That's the whole idea. Anyway, thanks a lot for sharing your knowledge on this subject, and really indebted for that. And thank you, of course, Chintan Bhai, which you have been doing this and fighting against all odds, but definitely and regularly conducting these webinars. Thanks a lot. Yeah?
Thank you so
Thank
Thank
you,
much.
sir.
Thank you so
Nice,
much.
nice.
Any questions from Abhay or Amay? Any
No,
question,
thank you.
comment,
It was
feedback?
very, very good interaction and very good session.
For me to
Yeah,
honestly
it was
last two
all
hours.
refreshing things.
Thank you, Sabhaji, to share a lot of things. In fact, though we have a very close group of people today. It's okay as long as we had this time spent. we had a
Yeah,
cross
yeah, it is.
learning on
At least
this.
we are able to discuss the subject. I mean, rather than having 40, 50 people sitting around, actually we are able to, put our minds together, share our experiences, and whatever we read, or that whatever we shared, exchange the information, that is valuable to me as an individual. And we continue to do that week on week, every week.
Yes.
So
Chetan bhai, honestly, you are so prompt and you are so apt when you just mentioned about individual, indigenization for India, and that is the actual practical challenge. And you spoke a lot, and thanks for sharing those ideas, Chetan bhai.
thank
Made the
you.
2 hours. I didn't feel it's 2 hours gone.
Thank you so much. And on behalf of all attendees and TMI community, I thank you, Saurabh Bhai, for
Sir.
sharing your thoughts, your expertise, and spending time with us. Thank you so much. Thanks, Amai, Joshi ji, Abhay, for attending.
Yeah.
And let us keep the momentum going on. And we look forward for engaging webinars in time to come. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Sure,
Any
sure.
question, anyone, please go
Thank you.
ahead.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye,
Thank you.
Namaskar. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.